Alright guys, last two fears here. We're going to cover them together because they are really closely related. It's the fear of old age and the fear of death. You guys might have remembered earlier, I told you that I included in my overarching long-term goal statement, the statement that I'm going to live to be 150 years old. And I say, I will die on this exact date. That's something that I recommend you do not take lightly. Because remember, what you feed your mind will turn into a reality. So I'm going to say that every day for the rest of my life. Even if my overarching long-term goal changes, which is about a decade goal for me, that'll still be there for every day of my life until I die. And so that's been my way to overcome the fear of death, the fear of old age, and understand at a higher level how I view my life and my perspective. So take that and strongly caution you using that, because if you start saying that, you can't stop. You're on a track that will never end. So take this with caution. Take this section with caution, and make slow decisions or quick decisions if you want. I know when I made that decision to start doing that, it was a quick decision after I heard someone say you can live as long as you want, as long as you just mentally visualize it. So take this content for what it's worth and overcome these fears that we're going to break through, because this is literally life-changing stuff. This is the secret to living longer. It's all based on your mental state. And I don't know, do as I do, not as I say. This is a strategy, this idea that you overcome all these fears by knowing the exact day you're gonna die. I mean, I've walked through my death, right? And as soon as you walk through your death mentally, it's not scary anymore. And you're like, okay, well, I guess I'll just die on that day, and that's how I'm gonna die. So understand the power of the past minute of what I just said, because it fundamentally changed every decision I made in my life, and changed how I looked at retirement, because I'm gonna live to be 150 years old. So really powerful stuff. Let's move into the content. Let's go over to the computer. Let's start off with the fear of old age. The possibility of ill health, which is more common as people grow older, is a major cause for this common fear. Remember, this is also mental, right? So people grow older and they think, oh, I should become sick. People grow older and they say, oh, I should stop learning. They should stop growing. They should stop being physically active. They should stop having a strong sex drive. It's all this auto-fulfillment of personal limiting belief. Eroticism also enters into the cause of the fear of old age, as no one cherishes the thought of diminishing sexual attraction. So same thing, right? This idea that for a lot of people, they are scared because they think that when they grow older, they're going to be weaker, they're going to be less active, they're going to have less drive. But in reality, you got guys out there that are 70 years old, skydiving and riding bikes for 50, 100, 200, 500 miles, absolutely crushing it, doing insane things with their lives, running marathons all the time. How do they do it? There's this guy, he literally ran across the United States over a course of month, and he was 90 or 80, 90. I mean, he was dead beat old, dude. How do you think he did it? He changed his state, he changed his mind. He had this internal belief that he could do it and he would be successful, and his mind fed him positive emotions and greatness, and he freaking ran from the East Coast to the West Coast. And then I think as of recording this video, he's on his journey to go back. He started here and he went here, and now he's going all the way back. All he's doing is just running. Isn't that cool? Doesn't that make you realize that age is just a number, and it's all about your internal belief about time and about your strength? Just keep lifting weights. Why would you get weaker, right? Muscles grow when they're torn. If you keep tearing, you're gonna keep growing. It's not like you get to a certain age and all of a sudden you aren't allowed to work out anymore. Just do it with caution, do it with care, because I know a lot of people, they've got messed up backs because of just a very unfortunate series of events that happened in their lives, and that sucks, right? So this just comes down to this idea that you want to treat your body as the most important vessel in your life. And the best way to do that is, like we just talked about earlier, if you have that overarching goal of how long you're going to live and when you're going to die, that makes you be a little bit more careful, and you think, well, would this be something that somebody who's going to live to be 100, for me, I would say, is this something that someone who would live to be 150 years old do? So maybe that's motorcycles, maybe it's eating sugar all the time, having a bad diet, maybe it's not working out, right? Is that something, if I was going to live to be 150 years old, would I do that? No, of course not, right? I would eat a bunch of, really healthy veggies and green stuff, which is tasty. I love it. Spinach, right? Those are the kind of tools, and a lot of that comes from the 4-hour body, which you guys have seen. So it's like aligning yourself with your goals. If you set a goal to live to be to a certain age, and you can pick that number, you pick any number in the world. I'm telling you guys, what the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve, it can be any age you want. For me, 150, I could have added a 6 to that. I could have added a 58 to that. I could have been, I could have added a 10 to that. But I picked 150, and that's what I'm sticking with. Can't change, Remember, quick to decide, never change. We're very, very, very slow to change. Obviously, in relative proportion. This is a big decision. Maybe it takes you time to make it, but then you hold it in your mind for the next 20, 50, 60, 100 years. For me, it's the next 120 years, 130 years. When I made that decision, it was about 132 years. That's a long time. All from one decision. Another contributing cause to the fear of old age is the possibility of loss of freedom and independence, as old age may bring with it the loss of both physical and economic freedom. I mean, that kind of sucks if you run out of your money, or if you run out of your body, and you can't control yourself anymore. It's also this idea of people that have like Alzheimer's, and now it's this self-fulfilling prophecy of I'm growing older and I should not know anything, or I should have weaker brain cells, which suck. Terrible. So puts people in nursing homes because they don't have these strong internal core desires to live and succeed and prosper into their life. Again, remember, proactive versus reactive. Reactive is, oh, I guess I'll just live as long as I can and I hope that my retirement pays for it, and I guess, I'll just live until I die. Versus proactive, this guy's freaking proactive, but also the proactive idea of, look, I'm gonna die. I will die on this date at this age. That's proactive versus reactive, right? I want to have control over my life. I don't want to just keep on switching around and not really know when I'm gonna die, because that's gonna affect the way I work through impact. It's gonna affect the way I work through growth. It's gonna affect the way I do everything, because it gives me a defined time horizon for my time on this planet. Because everyone dies, right? Scientific fact. Gotta get over it. Gotta set aside your definite deadline, your definite goal. And then you can get yourself there, right? Create the mental ability to become the person. You use positive emotions, right? Use positive reinforcement every single day with persistence. For me, I'm saying I've lived to be 150 years old. I've convinced myself wholeheartedly of it. And if you can convince yourself of anything, it can turn into a reality and a truth. Some people show a tendency to slow down and develop an inferiority complex when they grow older, falsely believing themselves to be slipping because of age. Remember, truth is that some of our most useful years mentally and spiritually are those later in life. We looked at this earlier with sex transmutation happening in your 30s, and mastery occurring in the 40s, 50s, and then having the most success possible in your 50s, 60s, your later years. And yet so many people, they think, oh, retirement age, I guess I'll just quit. Don't need to worry about it. Life's over. Good job. I guess I'm done. When in reality, if they had a solid base of assets, they were paying them dividends for centuries to come. You look at people in real estate, especially in New York. Grant Cardone, you've seen his books and his training. Donald Trump, you've seen his books. Some amazing books. He has this example in The Art of the Deal, and I'll leave the book for you below. This book is insane. The Art of the Deal, psychology and understanding investments and growth and personal success. And in The Art of the Deal, he's talking about how he has a property where the lease for the land that this massive skyscraper is built on is going to expire in 250 years. And he's freaked out about it, right? He's like, you got to expand this, man. Because he has had such an impact on everything around him that he knows that his grandkids, that is the world around him in centuries into the future, is going to be massively impacted by the work that he does. That's the power of strong goals that lead you to a whole new sense of achievement, growth, and development, and push you to do more than 99% of people to be rewarded at the top 1%, right? It's all this idea of doing so much and bringing so much value to the marketplace that you can't help but be rewarded. I just thought that 250-year lease was really, really funny in The Art of the Deal, because it's this idea that age is just a number, time is just a number. Unfortunately, there are older men and women who lose their initiative, imagination, and self-reliance by falsely believing themselves too old to exercise these qualities. I mean, you look at some of the most successful presidents, a vast majority of them are very old. And, it's this idea that are you going to be on a life projection, a life track where you go up and up and up and up and constantly improve and constantly have success with positivity? Or is it going to be a life track that you go up and up and up, but then you get to a certain point and you say, oh, good enough, stable off, maybe go down a little bit, because you're not really that much worried. You're not worried about growth and success anymore. You being on this training right now indicates that you're on this growth path. You're on this path to go and go and go and go and go and go. And the real test after this is your ability to follow, first of all, finish, because I guarantee you a vast majority of people, or at least a solid chunk of people, don't even freaking finish this course, which is insane. This is the most powerful information. Absolutely changed my life in the personal development and the goal setting and the long-term vision and the life purpose side of everything I do. All stems from this book. And there's so many tactics in here that will fundamentally shift every morsel of success in your life. The sex transmutation part alone will change, because it allows you to master those originating principles: faith, desire, persistence, confidence, secret formula that we talked about earlier, and multiply that as impact. the impact of those factors. So amazing. Now the goal right now that you've done it, which is awesome, right? You're above like probably 99% of the world by just going through this course, which is awesome. Okay. Now it's this idea of, okay, well, can you apply it? All right. And then on top of applying, maybe you want to grow another aspect of your life. Maybe you want to grow your personal finances, right? That's why I wrote 9 to New. Maybe you want to grow your social skills, which are like the most important way to grow a team and grow impact and grow strong, fundamental, personal and professional relationships and instill a sense of family around the people around you. Maybe that's what you're going after. If you want to go towards that stuff, you're still going to be on this growth curve, right? And you grow by getting better at what you're good at, or what, good to great, but then you also expand your skill set, right? So I talked about this earlier, this idea that you can build up a muscle or you can grow the muscles around it, right? So you can have a strong bicep, or you can have a strong forearm, strong tricep, strong shoulder, strong entire arm, right? Both of those methods of growth are extremely powerful. And when you combine them and you have growth in all aspects at the highest and best possible way, you're going to become a very strong person who can live through a proactive life where there's never just a complete abolishment of the fear of old age, because you know when you're going to die. That's power. That's growth. That's lifelong learning, commitment, and achievement. I'll tell you guys one more thing before we go to the fear of death, because I think this is kind of cool. So it's at this scholarship event, and it was at like Duke and Chapel Hill, and they had a bunch of kids come in, and there's like 200 kids, like this many people, and then like 200 kids. Okay, and everyone comes together into this one room, and in this room there are a bunch of little like posters on the wall, and there's like probably, I'd say like 40 of these little posters, and basically all these kids were in this one room because they were finalists for this huge scholarship thing, and like 10,000 people applied, and then 200 people got to this final event, and then here at the final event, like there was like panel interviews, and they were picking like, I think it was 10 people, and it's called the Robertson. It was really cool, and you go there and you get if you get it, you get a forward to Duke and Chapel Hill, which is like super cool, right? So everyone's in this room, and they're all like the top achieving students of the current, high school graduating class in the United States, and they're from all over the place. Some people are from international, which is super cool. Like these guys are, and the point of it, right, is leadership, right? So the whole point of the program is leadership, and this idea that everybody should be an amazing leader, and they want to foster development of leaders. I did not get this, unfortunately. I tried my best, I really did. But hey, what are you gonna do? Make it work, let it work out, focus on the positivity, keep going on your life path, crushing it. If you're pushing yourself to any reasonable standard, you should have failures along the way, without a doubt. And that is evident throughout all of life. You guys have seen the videos, like there's so many things I've done, and I don't want to focus on it here, but like those trading competitions, 250 grand out the door, 100 grand crypto out the door, massive failures. What's that lead to? It's an investment in myself, it's an investment in my education, it's an investment in my growth. Leads to massive future success, because you're on a path to that long-term goal, and you know that you must take insane action to get there. I'm so glad that I lost all that cash, because there's no freaking way I'd be making this course right now if I was rolling around in hundreds of thousands of dollars from stock market profit. And so in all reality, this is something that's going to have a massive impact, and it's also something that wouldn't exist if I didn't accidentally lose all that money. So win for you guys, big loss for me, but in the long term, it's a win for everyone. So the point here is these guys are all really smart, and they're all really cool people, okay, cool. So everyone comes into this room, and all of these posters on the wall are like personality traits. So some of them are like achievement, leadership, not leadership. They were very specific, and I have some notes on it. I just I'm going a little bit blank, but it was like, different character traits, right? Like this idea of what it is you like to do, and you'd pick your top 5 traits based on a personality test that you took. And we took the personality test, got our top 5 traits. I might have them, which is cool. I can actually share with you my results from this test. It's a cool little test. I'll share it below if you're interested in it. I don't know how you would use it, but it's pretty cool little test to do. I think my top ones were achieved. I'll put them up right here. So it was really cool. I got all the results, learned about myself, and like, I guess my trades, which is cool. And then what happened is all the kids would come and we would get in big groups based on some of our top traits, right? And so as you look around the room, there's about 40 of these, and a vast majority of these high achieving students, these really like people that are out there crushing it, they were very, very concentrated in just a couple, 80-20, right? 20% will represent 80% of the results. They were concentrated in a couple of little groups. And the biggest group out of everybody for the top trait for these high achieving students was actually learner. And it turned out that, at least, you gotta remember the state we're in, right? This is an academic scholarship for like a full ride, so they're probably screening for academic, but at the same time, this is also about leadership. And I wrote like a big essay application thing to get this opportunity, which was really, really cool. So they're looking at that, and they're looking at personality, and they looked, a big thing for me that they saw in the application was like My Little Pony stuff, and then combining that with the businesses, combining that with trading and investments and growth. Everything stemmed from this internal ability to stand out against 10,000 people, and these guys are all awesome. But leader was the #1 trait out of everyone here. #1. Understand that like learning is the key, and that's what you're doing right now, and that's so awesome, right? Because this is the key to high achievement in the face of society, in the perspective of society. And remember, what society values, society will pay money for, right? People think Google's really cool. They pay Google a ridiculous amount of money through their time, energy, and advertisement attention span to give them opportunities to make bank, right? So like look at, and they're a freaking cool company. Like, oh man, what a great investment. I'm not saying like, I don't know, do technical analysis and you'll figure it out. And then also fundamental analysis, all based on what you know about, right? That's the principle of quality investments, is that you comprehend the stuff that's working for you, because that stuff's gonna pay you dividends for the rest of your life. So cool, so cool. It's this long-term asset that sticks with you forever. That's the power of equity. That's the power of growth. So you got that down? Does that make sense? Don't fall into the trap of not being a learner. Don't fall into the trap of being a forgetter. Don't fall into the trap of growing old and all of a sudden thinking that age means that you're just freaking done. We talked about it earlier. The guy started Home Depot, freaking like 56 years old. That's awesome. You do anything you want. You can achieve anything you desire. You can fulfill any overarching long-term goal at any time period in your life, all by following principles of learning, growing, and of course, thinking and growing rich. That's the power. That's where you want to be, okay? Let's move on to the fear of death. To some, this is the cruelest of all basic fears. The reason is obvious. We don't know what to experience after death. He references Hamlet here and talks about death as the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveler returns. The fear of death is not as common now as it was during the age when there were no colleges, universities, or science about, where people come from. And it's rapidly freeing people from this fear through biology, astronomy, geology, and other sciences. Because people in the dark ages, like this fear of death, like ripped their minds all the time. And I want you guys to think about this too. What we just learned is that as humans developed over time, their lifespans, not their lifespans, sorry. I'm gonna keep lifespans in this dark green. But what we just learned is that their understanding of death increased over time, all right? Now, what does understanding do? Understanding allows you to lower your fear. So if you understand it more, you're gonna fear it less, okay? Now, here's what's really, really cool. If you think about historically how humans have developed and how, as a species, we've lived, if we look at lifespans versus time, people used to be like freaking 25 and then they would just die. And now the average lifespan's like, what, 70? And why is that? Well, it's because of medicine, right? It's because of biology. But hold on for a minute and focus on this one key concept here, understanding of death, all right? So just in general, lifespans over time have increased for humans. Maybe it's more of a curve. I don't really know 100%, but it's definitely increased, okay? Now, there's obviously the, medicine, surgery, research for health, all this amazing stuff for sure, 100%, without a doubt. I'm not saying that drugs aren't helping people in the medical field. What am I saying? I'm saying that everything here does one thing. It decreases fear. So for instance, if I know that I can break my arm, go to the hospital, and I'll be freaking A-okay in about 4 months after I have a cast, I'm gonna be less fearful breaking my arm. If I know that I have a heart attack and I can go to the hospital, they can just put some electric things in me and wake me up, and I'll be, the pretty solid chance, they save a lot of people that way, I'll be less fearful. If I know I can have cancer and go to the hospital and get it detected early on in the cycle, and they can rip that thing out of me early on with a very safe rate, hopefully, right? And I'm gonna have less fear of cancer. It's this idea that your fear of diseases decreases as all these new technologies come and people understand more about death. And because fear decreases, remember what we talked about earlier, where attention goes, energy flows. So there's a hospital down the road that can save me, and I can dial 911 to just instantly be connected to a network of people that are solely there to serve me and protect my life and keep me alive. It's going to drastically decrease my fear of dying. So if I can get rid of the fear of something, what happens? Well, the something disappears from my mind and is therefore irrelevant. So what I'm saying here is that this technology is huge. But more important than this technology is your mindset about death. And if you can decrease your fear of death by saying, I'm going to die on this precise date, and these are all the amazing technologies around me that are going to allow me to do that. Cryotherapy for our body. So stuff like, there's some amazing diets in there. Some of the biggest things are the idea that you can, biohack your body, right? By increasing fat intake and decreasing carbs. And that's, one of the core concepts in the for our body. And if you can have an insanely healthy body, what do you need to live? You need a healthy body and air, So you can live much longer because you don't have that fear of death. And if you don't fear death, you'll avoid it, right? It won't be part of you. Just like if you avoid the fear of poverty, if you can get over the fear of old age, you can get over the fear of criticism, if you can get over the fear of ill health, if you can get over the fear of loss of love, they won't happen to you. It's the same thing with death. Obviously, you're gonna die. But if you can get over the fear of death, you can set a definite death date for yourself. And you can be the determiner of your future and have total and complete control and conviction over the day that you perish. That's true power. And that comes from this internal ability to expunge fear from your mind so that your subconscious, your conscious, and your infinite intelligence are all divinely connected to this one singular date where you'll die in the future, and therefore have no fear because they know without a doubt that you are planning and you will expire on that day. And that's enabled by medicine, it's enabled by the world around us, but at a very fundamental level, human lifespans increase as fear of death decreases, because a vast majority of what happens to you is because of the mental energies that originate in your thought and expand in your infinite intelligence and into the ether around you as they become emotionalized through a fear of death. Guys, this module just taught you how to live for as long as you want. That's freaking powerful. Comment below if you're freaking blown away and what you got away from this. So if this fear is useless, death will come no matter what anyone may think about it. It's a necessity, and it will pass through the brain because you're gonna die, The entire world is made up of only two things, energy and matter. In elementary physics, we learn that neither matter nor energy, the only two known realities, can be created nor destroyed, right? Everything's conserved. And both matter and energy can be exclusively transformed. So life is energy, if it is anything. If neither energy nor matter can be destroyed, the course of life cannot be destroyed. Like other forms of energy, may be passed through various processes or transitions of change, but it cannot be destroyed. Death is merely a transition. If death is not a mere transition, then nothing comes after death but a long, eternal, peaceful sleep. And sleep is nothing to be feared. Thus, you may wipe out forever fear of death. Wow, that's a powerful. That's so cool. Guys, look, I'll leave book reviews and resources and those personality tests. It was all really cool stuff. One thing to get from this, obviously watch those videos and check out that stuff and continue to grow and continue to expand and grow your mind and keep going on this journey of personal development and success, which is a lifelong journey. And I hope to be with you during that and to help you through it and to grow with you, because there are a bunch of resources out there that I don't freaking know about. So it's super cool. Like, I appreciate it when you guys comment below or you email me or I get a lot of stuff, but like I try to get through everything. And the comments is a cool place to do that. So yeah, for body, what was I about death? Yeah, don't die, guys. Don't die. Take this module and seriously ponder like how long you desire to live. You definitely, I would recommend you have your secret formula and you've been applying your secret formula for at least 4, 5, 6 months, and you've been growing, because again, with habits, you want to develop one new habit at a time. So your first habit might be, working towards your overarching or long-term goal for the next decade or something. Maybe it's a little bit longer, whatever, right? It's this idea that you know exactly what you want. You have your core alignment in life. Then once you have that, then start to consider like, hey, You know, how long do I want to live? And how can I make that happen? Those are the two questions that can change your life. It can expand your lifespan past what's traditionally known as normal or standard by going from average to obsess over a state of being that's you, a state of growth and life. It stems exclusively from your individual ability to separate from the vast majority of individuals and people in the marketplace and go out there and absolutely freaking crush it. So please, please, please take this, apply it. Hope you guys got a tremendous level of value from this module. Hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next training. Thank you so much. Bye bye.